evening. A very happy Tuesday to you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on UpNorthLive Unscripted at 6:30. Finally, some relief from the heat after a couple days of a whole lot of 90s and 80s. Back into a nice, comfortable 70s across northern Michigan. Some of us saw a bit of rain throughout the day. Others, it was more dry. So, Trevor, any more rain in the forecast for the rest of the evening?
Yeah, certainly. We'll have a few lingering showers possible. Those will be mainly in the northern lower. I think our chances for any rain in the tip of the mid and eastern upper has completely ended tonight. But a few isolated showers, so you may get a bit of drizzle on you if you live somewhere in the northern lower, mainly in our southern counties. But otherwise, all we're really going to see tonight is clearing clouds from the north to the south. You've already seen that. Whitefish Point and a large majority of the eastern upper is now completely sunny after being cloudy for the majority of the day. Beyond that, we're going to have active weather sticking around in the forecast. We'll have chances to rain again tomorrow, but it'll be later in the evening. It's not going to rain all day. And then same story on Thursday and Friday, too. So a bit of active weather. We got a lot of rain in the forecast and a few storms, too. So we'll talk about all that when we come back.
All right, thank you so much, Trevor. Let's start off with our top story tonight. A third case of measles has been confirmed in Grand Traverse County. And with that third case, the Grand Traverse County Health Department says we are now dealing with an outbreak. The latest case being confirmed yesterday. Now, both the health department and physicians at Munson have a request and some advice for all of us tonight. Here is Mark Shillette with that.
Measles is one of the most contagious viruses known to man.
Which may be concerning enough, but couple that with the fact that once you do get it,
measles is serious. So there certainly are some people who will get mild cases of measles, but there is a significant percentage of people who will start with a milder case of measles and then go on to get significant complications.
Super contagious and potentially equally as serious.
It can cause problems both while you have it and can be really serious and put you in the hospital and people die from measles. Or after getting over measles, you might have long-term complications from having had it.
So when the first case and then another was reported in Grand Traverse County, the health department got to work.
Connection there. Linkages were made during our disease investigation, and we have an awesome disease investigation team.
The team identified Chelsea Park Apartments and the Traverse City Walmart as possible exposure sites.
Something like measles, we want to be very proactive in notifying the community if they may have been exposed to measles just because of how contagious this virus can be.
And on Monday, a third case reaching the medical threshold of an outbreak.
Right now, we do believe it to be isolated to a bit of a population, and we did share some exposure sites late last week, and we're going to continue to monitor that. We spun up a hotline here at the health department that's specific to this occurrence right now, so the community can reach out if they feel like they've been exposed or have concern around potential symptom onset.
The most common symptoms from measles are cough, congestion, high fever, red eyes, and a rash. And the rash usually starts a few days into your symptoms. It starts on your face, red spots on your face, and then spreads down throughout your body.
If you experience those, call your doctor or the health department prior to going in to be seen.
Lots of folks, including the health department and certainly Munson Healthcare, have protocols where we can get you tested and we'll take good care of you without exposing lots of other people to whatever illness you might have.
Both say, due to just how contagious the measles are, prevention is key.
I think this is a great time for individuals to get educated around their own immunization status.
The vaccine is safe and it's very effective in preventing measles. So get vaccinated, protect yourself and those around you.
That was Mark Shillette reporting. And just to kind of reiterate what Mark said there, because the health department and Munson really want to stress this, if you are experiencing any symptoms, because it is so contagious, contact your doctor directly before you go into an emergency room. And we have more information on that story over on our website, UpNorthLive.com. Well, we have continuing coverage tonight on the planned removal of a pedestrian bridge that is owned by the state's Department of Natural Resources, and that has generated a lot of feedback from the community. The bridge spans US 31 in Grand Traverse County, and it connects the state park to the beach. And it's an issue that lawmakers say they've raised to the DNR. Our Allie Baxter spoke with one state senator who says that their concerns appear to be falling on deaf ears.
Normally, the DNR is good to work with and they're responsive, but on this case, I just think they have their mind made up.
In March, we told you about the planned removal of the DNR's pedestrian bridge at the Traverse City State Park. Previously, DNR officials told us the bridge isn't ADA accessible, and part of their upgrades to the park's entrance is to replace it with a crosswalk.
I think it's a terrible idea to take this bridge down. I mean, who on earth thinks it's safer to have a crosswalk?
In the months since, legislators like State Senator John DeMoose have reached out to the DNR.
I get there's a problem. They can't really make it handicap accessible. So that's a problem. But it's still better to leave it there than to not.
In April, Grand Traverse County commissioners approved sending a letter to DNR Director Scott Bowen requesting the bridge remain at the park. According to the board chair, that letter from commissioners received no response.
The problem is everything I'm hearing is it sounds like the decision's been made. And so far, our requests to reconsider have sort of fallen on deaf ears.
Some families visiting the state park beach Tuesday declined to go on camera, but said they prefer the bridge to a crosswalk on the highway. They noted they feel more safe crossing a bridge with children.
I don't know who thinks this is a good idea to take it down in this era of distracted driving, of which we're all guilty of sometimes. It's really a scary thing out there. Saying that's a busy highway.
Senator DeMoose says now more than ever, it's important to reach out to the DNR directly to share concerns, especially since the state park is closing July 7th to start construction.
I just think people need to stay on it and keep reaching out to the DNR and just insisting that they do something different, because that bridge is really important.
That was Allie Baxter reporting, and Allie is joining us live now from our content center with more on this story. Allie, it feels like it was it was a couple months ago that I think you were joining me live to talk about this exact same conversation. Has anything really changed since then?
Nothing's really changed as far as the plans to remove the bridge eventually goes, but some things have taken motion, at least in Lansing, is what I was told today. And that's kind of what we were looking into. We've heard from different lawmakers over the last couple months that, hey, we're expressing your concerns. We hear you. We see your concerns on social media. We hear you guys reaching out to us. We want you to know that we have taken these concerns to the DNR. And so I was able to speak with Senator John DeMoose yesterday about this. And I asked him, hey, what is going on with the removal of the pedestrian bridge? What are you hearing from the DNR down in Lansing? Because so far, all of the local DNR officials we have up here have said, this is a done deal. We're moving forward. The bridge could be gone by spring 2026. So he told me that, he agrees with the community that this bridge should not be removed. It's a huge safety concern over that highway.
And it sounds like the biggest concern with keeping the bridge is that it is not ADA accessible, which is a very valid concern.
Right.
But to someone watching this, they might be thinking, well, couldn't you just keep the pedestrian bridge and then also add a crosswalk? So that way you kind of get the best of both worlds. Is that a possibility, or is that something that the DNR discussed?
I know it's something that certainly has been pitched to the DNR. I believe their response in the past to that has been the bridge would be in the way of maybe some of those, those flashing lights that they would want to pair with that crosswalk that they intend on placing there. Also, it seems that in the plans that the bridge is kind of sitting right in the way of where they want to do their new entrance to the campground as well. But actually, something that I learned today, I actually just got off the phone with Representative John Roth, who this isn't his district specifically, but he's like, I'm invested in this. I have constituents who obviously use this state park. He's also on the appropriations committee in the House that works with the DNR and some of their budgeting items. And he told me today that he is in communication with the DNR about this. And unlike what some of our local officials for the DNR are telling us here, it's a little bit more flexible down in Lansing right now. He's saying that maybe potentially the DNR doesn't really have the money to remove the bridge right now. It's something that they have to go in with MDOT on, just because it does span the highway right there. And this is something that this is a multi-phase approach to upgrading the campground. We know that after July 7th, it's not going to reopen until 2027. So he says, I don't see that bridge really going anywhere in the next year. He said, I'm going to talk to them again tomorrow. He has another meeting that the DNR will be in tomorrow, and he intends on following up on his conversation that he did have with them 3 weeks ago.
So although the DNR says this is a set thing, it's a done deal, we will be removing the bridge, it sounds like Representative Roth is a little optimistic that something could change between now and next year when they plan to do that.
Yeah, Representative Roth, that's a great description for that. He is a little bit more optimistic about this. And he says, you know what? We are hearing a lot from people. He's like, the DNR down here in Lansing, they know they're getting an earful about this. And I asked him just for his 2 cents. I said, what do you think about the removal of the bridge? And he said, it's not a good idea. He said, no matter what, we need to have something there in that area. We need something with the bridge, and whatever we need to do to make sure that works, whether it's making it ADA compliant in some way, whether we look into maybe getting some of those funds to make it ADA compliant. He said a crosswalk is really just not an option there, not in that area where traffic does move so quickly.
Yeah, it's a very busy highway there. And of course, the bridge was built there for this purpose, right? To keep pedestrians safe when they're going from the campground to the beach.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was able to talk with a few people on the beach today. It was a little bit of a rainy day out there, so not a ton of people were using the state park beach today. But those who I were able to talk to, they said, you know, we don't want to go on camera and say this just because we're not super familiar. We're just visiting the area. But we will say that if we had the choice between a bridge and a crosswalk, we don't want to drag our kids across the street just in front of cars in a very vulnerable situation. We would rather have the bridge. And something I noticed today is that a lot of families felt a little bit more relaxed in terms of they let their kids kind of run ahead of them to go up the steps to the bridge because they know there is safety in that. This isn't a situation where we have to hold the kid's hand across the street. They're just running up onto the bridge and they are not in the way of traffic.
Sure. And I know anytime I'm walking my dog across the street, I'm a little worried about him. I can't imagine how these parents feel with, especially if they have multiple kids trying to walk across a busy street, even if the crosswalk is giving you the right of way to walk. Like we heard from Senator John DeMoose, with so many distracted drivers, you really just never know what could happen.
Right. And like he said, too, we are all guilty of something taking away our attention in the car. So maybe you don't look up immediately and see that we've got the flashing lights going on. I mean, people are familiar with the Front Street in Grandview Parkway area, where we have a couple of those along the parkway where it's a flashing light system. You wait till it turns red and then people cross. And we know those are used in like very like specific situations. And there's not always a lot of foot traffic there until maybe Cherry Festival time. But something that I heard today from people is that we feel like the button for this is going to be pressed frequently. So it's just consistently going to slow down things in the area. It's going to put pedestrians' lives at risk. And it's just overall not a good plan.
Yeah, that's a great point. That is a very busy campground, especially in the summertime here in Traverse City. A lot of folks are going to be going from the campground to the beach, so I can see that concern as well. So, Allie, you mentioned that some renovations at the campground are starting on July 7th. So that does not include the bridge. What are those renovations that are happening? Do you know?
I believe right now they're doing a lot of internal stuff in the campground. So not necessarily focusing on that like external, like how are we going to get people out? I know that's something they've expressed concern about is we need a new entrance. Right now, I believe like from some of our prior reporting, they have a lot that they need to do within the campground itself as far as updating maybe some water and sewer situations and stuff like that.
In about 30 seconds, Allie, is there anything else that you want to mention that we haven't discussed yet?
Yeah, I would say both of my conversations with the lawmakers today that both of them said, this is still something we want to hear people's voice on. We want you to know that your voice is being heard. And even if this is something that isn't in danger of happening in a month or so, we still need all that feedback so that we can present it to the DNR. And they want to know that it is important to people up here.
Well, thank you so much, Allie, for giving us all that additional information on an update on the pedestrian bridge situation in Traverse City. It's a perfect segue to our question of the day. We also want to hear your feedback. And our question today is, do you agree with the DNR's plan to remove the pedestrian bridge at the TC State Park? You can scan the QR code on your screen right now. That'll take you to our website where you can vote. This was our question of the day back in, I believe it was March. We asked the same question, so we just kind of wanted to bring it back up and see if people have changed their minds since then, and it looks like not a lot of people have changed their mind. A lot of people are saying no. We'll take a look at those final results and a few of your comments toward the end of the show, but right now we are going to take a quick break. Trevor Robidale will have much more on your forecast for the rest of the night and your Wednesday straight ahead.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
A nice break from all of that heat from the weekend and our Monday, and a few showers in the forecast today. But as Trevor Robideau mentioned, we should expect to see even more showers the rest of the week, right, Trevor?
Yes, we will. A bit of an active stretch here around northern Michigan. We got several chances for rain. Now, I do want to preface that sometimes whenever people hear rain, they think it's just going to rain all the time. Now, we will have several chances for rain, but that doesn't mean it's going to rain all day. As a matter of fact, I think tomorrow it'll actually stay quiet until the very late evening and overnight hours going into Thursday morning, and then we'll have on and off rain Thursday. And then again, Friday, sort of the same thing. So we've got chances for rain almost every day for the remainder of the week. So we'll call it active weather. But I don't think it'll be raining all the time. We'll start with our temperatures today. Obviously, much, much cooler. And I said this multiple times now, but this, in my opinion, is a much improvement from the past couple of days. Temperatures in the higher 60s, 70s, and a few low 80s right now. Highs were mostly in the 70s today and a few low 80s. And that's so much, as I mentioned, a much improvement from yesterday. It was still very muggy, though, with dew points in the 60s and 70s. We're still holding on to those higher dew points right now. So while it is cooler, it's still wet. Relative humidity well above 80% for a lot of towns and counties here in northern Michigan. We'll get to our temperature records. This is a look yesterday. Gaylord, Pellston, and Alpena all broke record temperatures again for the second consecutive day. Yesterday, you see the old record, and then the new one on screen, along with the years that those records hold on to. Alpena, an over 100-year record, was broken yesterday with a temperature of 97 degrees. There's the look around the entire state of Michigan. Most spots cloudy with a few passing showers and even some storms passing to our southern region down south of Saginaw towards Detroit, and even Kalamazoo getting some storms tonight. That's all part of a system that's a stalled out cold front. Now, they're on the warmer end of that, and we're on the colder end of it up north here in northern Michigan. We still have a lot of cloud cover and a few lingering showers, while the upper peninsula looks mostly dry and also very sunny. So the remainder of the night, we'll still have some of these few isolated showers. Storms are unlikely, but not impossible throughout the region tonight. The main thing was we're going to see cooler temperatures and some clearing from north to south in terms of cloud cover. We've already seen that today. We started with cloud cover in the eastern upper and then improved in that regard. Here's a look at our stormcast. We'll start off with a decent amount of sunshine in the morning. We'll hold on to that through the afternoon. We'll hold a wind out of the northeast. Then we'll have rain chances return to the forecast by as early as 5 p.m. for some people, but the majority of this rain will hold off until well overnight, passing through the region overnight Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Bit of a soaker. Some spots will get some localized heavy rain and even some storms, but we are not expecting any severe weather with that system. There is the outdoor outlook. Lots of chances for rain, not only Thursday, but Friday again. Some storms in the forecast. So a bit of a wet stretch, an active stretch here, holding off until at least the weekend. Saturday looks a lot better. There's a lot of things happening on Friday, a lot of activities, and even the National Cherry Festival happening. It looks like it'll be a good start. Tonight, 46 to 66, mix of clouds and clearing north with a few early showers coming to an end. Tomorrow, sunshine early with increasing clouds in the evening, late rain chances and a light northeast wind, temperatures in the 70s and 80s. We'll have temperatures mostly in the 70s for the remainder of the week and active weather until at least the start of the weekend.
All right, thank you so much, Trevor, for that. Let's take a quick break, but we'll check in with our sports director, Harrison Beebe, in just a couple of minutes. Well, it sure is good to have our sports director, Harrison Beebe, back with us here on Unscripted. Let's turn things over to Harrison in our content center now. Hey, Harrison.
Maya, it's good to have you back too. You know, I was here yesterday and you were MIA.
That's true. I missed the first day you were back.
Yeah, that's okay. Cody and I, we talked about the Tigers. You know what? Just because they were off yesterday, let's go ahead and talk about the Tigers again. Actually, still waiting to get their series started with the Oakland Athletics. It's going to take me a bit to get used to that. They're now just the Athletics.
Right.
I believe they play in West Sacramento. They're going to be in Vegas in a few years, but they have to take on Tarek Skubal tonight. And here's the stats for Mr. Skubal this season, in case you were wondering how the reigning AL Cy Young Award winner is doing. He is first in WHIP, walks and hits per innings pitched, fourth in ERA and strikeouts, and tied for third with 8 wins in the major leagues. That's not just in the American League. These statistics are all of the major leagues, so that includes National League pitchers as well. So everything going pretty well for Skubal. No shock there. He was the one thing that Tiger fans were very confident in entering this season. It's the rest of the team that's pretty much surprised everybody continuing that pace of play from last fall. So yeah, they have the Athletics for 3 games starting tonight as they hope to continue to stay on top of the Major League Baseball standings.
And honestly, these statistics, they are dazzling, but they still kind of surprise me. I would have thought he would have been higher in some of them, almost like first or second in a lot of them.
You would, but it's hard. He was actually, I think he was first, I believe, in the 3 major ones last year. It is really hard for one pitcher to do that year after year after year. Yeah. The real impressiveness is if you're near the top of them. For perspective, I looked it up. There's only one other pitcher in the majors that's ahead of him in 2 of these categories, and that's Max Fried of the New York Yankees. So as far as consistency goes, just by that logic, he's still one of the best in the game, if not defined as the best. So, and Maya, really quick before we wrap up, I want to touch on the NBA schedule because everybody thinks with the finals being done, that means the NBA season is done, and that is true. But as a basketball fan, sometimes my favorite part of an NBA season is the few weeks after the finals. We get the NBA draft tomorrow night here on ABC, if you're watching this on the network station here. And next week, free agency begins. So the real excitement of NBA offseason and turnover and what a team's going to look like begins now.
Let's see what moves the Pistons make this year. I'm excited.
It certainly, compared to last year, a lot of excitement around Pistons.
Definitely. All right, Harrison, thank you so much. Like I said, good to have you back. Let's take a quick break, but we'll check out our question of the day and the live results straight ahead.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
All right, let's take a look at our final results for our question of the day. Do you agree with the DNR's plan to remove the pedestrian bridge at the TC State Park? 94% are saying no. Only 6% say yes. Over on our Facebook page, we have about 200 comments. Velma says, no, do not remove the bridge. It saves lives. John says, I think everyone can agree the bridge is good, but it's not ADA accessible. Alex says, we need more pedestrian bridges in the area. If you'd like to join in on the conversation, you can head over to our Facebook page, find this post, and leave your comments there. But we are all out of time tonight on Unscripted. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you back here at 11 o'clock.